Knoxville hairstylist, and his disappearance stumped investigators. But even after his body was found years later, his killer wasn't. And that person is still on the run now more than 15 years later. In tonight's Appalachian Unsolved, 10 News anchor Brittany Bailey shares an update from investigators about where this case stands and why they may be looking for more than one person.
And it's a very easy haircut. It falls right into place.
That's Knoxville stylist Byron Barker during a WBIR segment back in 2003.
I learned it last June in Hollywood.
Barker certainly had the touch with hair and with people.
Byron was an energetic guy. I mean, he definitely had a zest for the latest and greatest.
But that zest for life was snuffed out without warning, sparking a years-long mystery.
The circumstances are still unclear.
Knoxville Police Captain Ryan Morrow now leads the division investigating this case. He says Byron Barker disappeared from Knoxville in May of 2005. His car was later found in a hotel parking lot in Williamsburg, Kentucky, with no sign of him, but with perhaps an even more ominous sign.
I think there was some biological evidence that led us to believe that the worst had happened.
Blood in the trunk? That blood led investigators to believe the worst, but it did not lead them to Barker. His fate was not revealed until more than 3 years later, when his remains were found off Midway Road.
When his remains were found, there was something that gave you a clue.
Yes.
A big clue?
It was ruled a homicide by the medical examiner's office.
Even if you can't say, do you know how he died?
We do.
And that makes you sure that he was killed?
Absolutely.
At that point, did you have any evidence that you felt could lead you to his killer?
No. Like, again, it was 3.5 years after the disappearance. With time, weather, the environment, a lot of that evidence, physical evidence that we could use, had dissipated.
Not only did police not have clear evidence, they also didn't have a clear suspect. They say Byron Barker spent a lot of time in online chat rooms and had struggled with drugs at times. So he had plenty of contacts, many of them strangers, any of whom they say could have been suspects. But there was someone who quickly rose to the top of that suspect list, Barker's own roommate.
We did look at the roommate, and we're going to continue to look at him until we find evidence out to the contrary. But yeah, that was very suspicious that the man you're living with has been gone for 3 weeks and you haven't reported it missing.
The roommate was convicted for stealing Barker's furniture, clothing, and computer, but that was it.
He was charged with that. You felt like you didn't have any other evidence to connect him to anything beyond that?
No.
Do you at this point in time?
No.
Is he a suspect in this case, though?
I think at this point, anybody that knew Byron is a suspect.
For investigators, if everyone is a suspect, that means they essentially have no suspect. Also, no motive, not even an exact time of death or location. What they do have is a determination to find answers, however long it takes.
Yeah, it's left a lot of voids in a lot of people's lives. I know Mr. Barker had a lot of contact with a lot of people, had a lot of friends in the community, and it's difficult for everybody not knowing what happened.
I think there's more than one person that knows what happened out there.
Is that part of the hope that one might decide to roll over on the other at some point?
Absolutely.
If you have a tip on this case, Knoxville police do want to hear from you. That is the number you can call East Tennessee Valley Crime Stoppers, 865-215-7165.